Yeah, hey Chuck. I was gonna type an answer back to you because I want to stay tight with you too. Definitely Team Chuck. Okay, so but this is quicker for me. I just want to just talk out maybe a few things, and then if I type it, it's gonna take forever. But I understand we have different communication styles. Everybody does, and so feel free, write me again. uh, some. So first, I wanted to make sure that you understood that when I was talking about salary versus total comp at the meeting, it was more to declare us for everybody there, all eight of us, to be talking about the same thing, because we had just talked about salary for Amy and others, which did not include their benefits, and so total comp wasn't a conversation. And so when we were talking about salary, it's sometimes that word is used more casually as total comp, and and specifically it should mean something different. I just wanted to declare that as we were talking. Felt the topic was rushed in general, so it could have easily been felt that so dismissive or impersonal, and I don't want you to feel that way. That was not my intention. It's not where I was coming from. At all. Um, when we talk about numbers out loud, everyone gets lost. There's eight people trying to track, so we definitely probably would do best to, get some written down numbers in a conversation about that uh, at some point. Um, I just want you to hang in there with. I do think this is a minute. This is an unusual year, different than other years. I do not think that patients have disappeared and our practice in itself has contracted. I think we also a few years ago experienced a real high use of our practice through the patients that attached to us, and our income was very high, unusually high, I think. Plus, we had work-in doctors where we took home as partners their money that they left behind that we took as part of the arrangement. Um, that and it was accentuated more in these later partners than you. Your contract was different. Using a recruiter inherently, we ended up paying what they told us we needed to pay on altitude on year one, meaning like what somebody would make as a contracted corporate or a regular. If you work for a system, we need to pay at that level to get someone. And our practice was down to four partners, and we had having a hard time recruiting and needed someone right away. So we couldn't tolerate a no. So we ended up, your contract was different. For example, Erica, who came in a year later, her year one was 140 plus benefits, way lower than yours, significantly. And ours, the other partners previous to yours, was very different. So I would say erase thinking of that as being a bar for or a measure for base for the marketplace for a regular full-time pediatrician in Central Virginia. So you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. There was some influences that changed that number that was not market-based. It was desperation market-based for us to answer what the recruiters were telling us, and I think they were probably right. We definitely needed someone. We needed to pay out for that. We got a good person. You're an excellent pediatrician, and now partner, which means that you're not different from the practice, or the F. Reed Hopkins is not a separate entity really. Partner is the representation. We are now F. Reed Hopkins. What Hopkins does is what the partner chooses to do. In other words, we are responsible and charged with the creation of the practice and the management, obviously, but the lifeblood of attracting patients and bringing them to our practice, it's the partner that does that. And so I don't think that we have a major problem. I just think that we as partners need to continue to sharpen the tool, understand how maybe advertising, making sure the customer service experience is 5-star, make sure our employees are happy. If we need to add services like the comprehensive pediatric care, like I'm talking about adding, like with UVA and then Teresa, but like flu shots and COVID vaccine. a source of information, be there 7 days a week. All that stuff you hear me talk about is important, but really it's the people choose to come there because of the connection to their doctor or provider. And that's the part that's incentivized in our program. And so our plan is to incentivize folks who are creating this draw or attraction and creating flow in the practice and patients who attach to us. So in some ways, it was purposely created this way. It's unlikely that anyone would want to change the structure of it, as you had suggested too. And I look right now at your total payout through the end of third quarter and before the bonus checks came. It's the same as Erica. Your total comp looks the same as Erica. Could be wrong, but with just a low general and year, if someone stood out from others, I think we'd have to kind of take a look at what's going on there. But I don't think the partnership is built around shifting between partners. It's really about each partner is responsible individually to represent Hopkins and create attraction there. And so when I look at the numbers, I don't see this disparity from baseline or market value. Like what if you left the practice? I sketched out what it would look like if we hired a full-time pediatrician who would work on a regular full-time basis. 4 days a week, 100 patients a week, something like that, and what pay would look like and benefits would look like. And I think even with the low volume as partner, you're still making more than what that concept would look like. And so I would suggest thinking about this two separate ways. And I mentioned this the other day, was that financially, it looks like you're going to end up at the end of the year doing better than a Central Virginia full-time pediatrician would do. But then there's the problem of the empty template where there's fewer patients, and you see others with patients that are on their list. So there's me, Justin, and Stephanie have been there 30 years, 20 years. There are people I'm seeing that I saw them as kids, like the parents were as kids. So that's the creation of the practice that gets handed down to the next set of partners. Now the partners generally are still needing to figure out how to attract and create relationships that last a lifetime. I don't know where your style is. I think as pediatricians, we're trained and taught the medicine part mostly, but I think I was taught that communication style is a learned and purposeful behavior that I have to figure out. I did it differently. I tried to copy kind of Gary Stewart style for many years. And it didn't, looking back, I'd say it was probably not the best match on style for me. In the last 6 months 6 years since I came back from that problem, I feel like a different perspective towards my relationship with patients. And so I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's just a different style. It's something that, I bring to, a little more personal stories, a little bit more share. I leave a little bit of me with folks when I'm with them in an appointment, maybe more than I ever had before, but not to be, cringy or anything, but it's a style that I'm very comfortable with, but I think that it serves patients in a sense that I create a relationship there, that they remember me, they're going to call back, they'll ask for me later. It's part of the continuity side of the pediatrics. I don't think we're taught in hospital medicine, but one that is needed to have. Now, is there a systematic bias? I really don't think so. I watch the folks call when people call in there, ask, who do you want to see, or what time slots are available to you. I think the lowest amount of work and getting someone booked is what our schedulers are trying to do. And the lowest amount of work is to ask them who they want to see and then plug them in. right? So I don't think they're doing a diversion. That would require more work. I never hear anybody doing that kind of thing, so I really doubt that that's happening. Um, so getting folks to want to stick with you as a person, I think, is just what we all do or try to do as partners. And we are the Hopkins. We in everything we do in our community, anything we do online or neighborly wise or citizen wise, are all ways of that's primarily not the purpose. I mean, we want to be good citizens and stuff in our community, but in a lot of ways, what happens is it makes people connect for a long continuity experience with a physician for their cluster of kids, and they look to us for out of trust, and that's the part that I don't know if your style emphasizes that, but I think that's the key piece in what I've seen the successful partners in our group before me really honed in on, and I definitely want to help make things better. I feel the distress and frustration that you are at. I definitely do, and I'm sorry about this circumstances. Now, I really see from a larger perspective where this is different, very particularly different than your first few years here. But I think that it's going to be temporary. I think that your end point is on a financial side, full-time pediatrician work. You're going to do better than on a pretty good, and in a significant way, I think better than a full-time salaried pediatrician in our area. In the end, even this year, 2025 will bring that, I believe, by the numbers. I mean, it's really the base change too. Like Erica, 140, that's all, and Holly, we paid her 170 thereabout on the salary plus benefit for her first year, and she brought 6 years of experience too. So there's a base to compare to, and what not to compare to is other partners who've been there for a long time, or yourself in the past. There were going to be different variables that are not present that maybe we can reach back to and maybe model or try to reattain, but not assume is natural. And then, so hopefully, what can happen is that sort of acceptance of the way the financial program goes is really what's designed for the future of our group and the future of each of our partners. That we're trying to create continuity and people coming in, because any sick patients we see, it's because they see themselves as coming in for checkups and continuity and chronic care things already. So we're going to live and die by that blade. We're not going to be we're not trying to be MedExpress and urgent care. We're trying to be the comprehensive care, and the key cornerstone is those folks who come in and identify us as a medical home, and that's what's incentivized. So I want to help, if I can, to help you look at ways to enhance that, or ways to, if there are impediments to that, should decrease those. As far as the money goes, I see less. I do see difference, but I don't see that this is where we have to punt. But all right, I'll leave this here. I could never have typed all of this or made it understandable. I send this out. It just is this is how I want to communicate, and I'm sure I would have bored you to death trying to talk with you. So maybe we get up another time and see. Just tell me how this goes, and we'll send this to you.